Hi, my name is Joseph Beige. I'm a real estate attorney on Long Island, and I'd like to welcome you to today's program. Before we get started, as always, I want to start off by thanking our regular viewers. Thank you for your support, and as always, I appreciate the positive comments. If you're a new viewer and it's your first time checking out our program, let me explain a little bit about what we do. We're going to discuss a real estate topic, and with the help of a guest, we're going to hopefully give you a little more insight and help you understand real estate, how real estate on Long Island works, little tips, little tricks, ways to make your next deal a little bit more easier and less stressful. Today, we're going to talk about a profession related to real estate. In fact, can't happen without him, and that's our real estate sales professionals. Many people know real estate people, salespeople. They think they know what the profession does, but they really don't. Others are interested in it and don't know how to get into that profession. Today, with the help of Matt Rivera from Main Street Success, a real estate school in Smithtown, we're going to discuss that and hopefully help you if this is a career you'd be interested in, or maybe even if you didn't think you'd be interested in, but now you might be after you learn a little more. Matt, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Matt, everybody thinks they understand what a real estate sales professional does. And I think we can't really discuss what a school does without that. They have a perception. They think that the person basically sells the house. That's the answer you'll get. They think it's a little bit like a game show. They walk through the house, they open a door and say, let's see what's behind door number 3. Oh, here's the kitchen, here's the dining room. But it's a lot more than that. So when we talk about a real estate sales professional today, how should we define that person?
How should we define a real estate salesperson? They basically control the real estate process. They are the matchmakers. They're also the people behind the scenes that are making every part of the transaction work. They're the key component to all real estate.
Yeah. And my background actually was a real estate salesperson before going to law school. And I do say this to my real estate professionals all the time. They are instrumental, more so than just putting buyers and sellers together. They are one of the few people in the transaction that can speak to both the buyer and the seller and smooth out issues. In some cases, they're more valuable than an attorney in solving problems. The Main Street Success, like I said, you're a school in Smithtown, but to call you just a school is a little bit of not really giving a full accounting for what it is you do. So not to put words in your mouth, describe Main Street Success for us.
So I'll give a little background. I'm not a real estate agent. I'm a home inspector. I started doing home inspections in 2015, and I opened up a home inspection school in 2017. The biggest problem I had with home inspection and running a school was finding space. We're teaching 4 hours a night and everybody wants to charge me $2,000. So 2017, we opened up the school and I said, I want to buy a spot at some point and have a whole bunch of different schools, have multiple people, multiple schools, multiple crafts all in the same building. Fast forward, COVID happened. Everything went Zoom, everything went virtual, and we had the opportunity to get this building. And basically from that point on, we decided we wanted to build a building where we could take the real estate process and cultivate it. So we want to have a real estate school. We want to have a home inspection school. We want to get some insurance people in there, and we want to build a networking epicenter for everybody in the industry. So Main Street Success is a place where we hope people become successful.
When somebody wants to become a real estate salesperson, again, we're talking about a schooling, but there are requirements. Let's talk a little bit about that. As an overview, what is the process for someone to become licensed off the street to become a real estate salesperson?
It's not that complicated. They need to be 18 years old. They need to go to an approved school, New York State approved school. It's a 77-hour class. It could be done virtual or in person. They need to pass a state test, and they need to be sponsored by a real estate broker.
On the education side, like you said, it's 77 hours. Are there any prerequisites? You said somebody has to be 18, but do they have to have a high school diploma? Do they have to have anything of that nature?
High school diploma. There's no other prerequisites. It's not a complicated process. It's relatively easy to get. They just need to show up and study and learn the law from the books.
When they're 77 hours, let's talk about some of the subjects, because I think people would be surprised. Again, The general public, I believe, when you look at or think about a real estate sales professional, is thinking about it as a salesperson. They equate them to whether it's a car sales, appliance sales, and they're not. When you talk about education, they think they're going to learn how to sell, and that's really not it. There's a lot more specifics that they're learning, and they might be surprised. So what are some of the subjects that will be covered in that 77-hour course?
It goes over a lot. There is a big section on the law, what they're allowed to do, what they're not allowed to do. It touches on marketing. There's a multitude. I mean, it's 77 hours and it's clock to clock 77 hours. There's no cheating on the hours. They talk on, mortgages and what they can say, what they can't say, ethics, what they ethically allowed to do. There's a big section on that because a lot of things that people think, oh, I'm allowed to do this, they're really not allowed to do. And we, as a school, what we like to do is we have professionals that are really good at what they do come in and help teach those subjects. So we will have a lawyer come in. We'll have a mortgage person come in. So they learn firsthand from the people that they're supposed to learn from.
Addressing somebody who's looking at this and saying, you know what, I always thought about a real estate career. I know some people who are doing real estate sales and they do pretty well at it, some part-time, some full-time. Now they're interested. How about class schedules for somebody who's working and maybe wants to do this, integrated into their life?
So we have a variety of different ways. So all of our classes run simultaneously with Zoom. So you could be in person or you could watch it on Zoom. So you could do it from your house. You could do a little bit of both. We run a fast class about every month and a half to 2 months. It's 2 weeks straight, every day at the office, like a job, 9 to 5. They come in, they get all their hours. We also run it every week at night where they could basically start anytime they want. So that's, a 3-month class where they come in, I think it's 2 nights a week or 3 nights a week, again, on Zoom or in person, and they just start at whatever section we're at and they finish when they get done with everything. It's been working really well.
Yeah, it seems like you make it very easy for someone to who wants to become a real estate sales professional to integrate the classwork into their life, either by Zoom, coming at night, coming during the day. It's pretty much a continuous, almost like a treadmill. Jump in wherever you want.
Exactly.
And then you still get them to the end, and then you still get them through. Okay. Now, another thing that I find surprises people is they don't realize that a real estate sales professional getting licensed is only step one. That there's, just like other professions, like attorneys, accountants, doctors, and so forth, they are required to take ongoing continuing education to stay current and to maintain their license. So let's talk now, instead of the person looking to enter the field, to our experienced real estate professionals that are out there watching this. What do you offer them in terms of continuing education? The
market's been changing a lot. 2 years ago, the last 2 years, being an agent was relatively easy, especially if you were a seller's agent. Coming into what we're going into now, the fourth quarter of whatever you want to call it, I really want to say that this is where we want our bread and butter. We are offering classes. We do all the CE classes that everybody offers. We have title companies, but we're an approved school. So we've been taking different subjects and getting them approved through New York State to teach them. So we have, different marketing classes, we did a class last week on solar power and how it affects the transaction and what to do and what not to do. So we have a lot of different classes that are going to be coming up that are outside the box as long as New York State approves them.
Interesting. Now, what are some of the required subjects for continuing ed? I know that, for example, diversity, there are legal requirements that are coming up. I mean, diversity and anti-discrimination have become part of everybody's continuing ed. So. Yeah,
those are the ones that I know we have to partner with other people to do.
But there is continuing a minimum amount.
Yeah, they have to do 22 hours every 2 years.
Every 2 years. Okay. Very similar to with attorneys and so.
Yeah, same thing with home inspectors. Everything is pretty similar. We offer probably about 10 hours a month for free.
Now, again, talking about staying on the subject of the continuing education, how does that scheduling work? Or is that very similar to what you offer on the initial class?
So the continuing ed, we have a few different offers. We still do Zoom. We have, maybe a class or two a month that's on Zoom, but we've been trying to build continue it into like a networking event. So every month we have 2 to 3 different what we call networking events where we'll offer 2 or 3 hours of continuing education and then have some type of networking after or before. So we do a breakfast once a month, once every other month, and we do a party at night once every other month. So they go opposite months. And then we have a couple of other classes through different sponsors.
Okay, excellent. So instead, it's a little less formal than sitting in a classroom on a regular basis. Like in the initial one, it works into more of, like you said, a networking where it's like, okay, once a month you have an event there that also happens to get you a continuing ed credit at the same time.
A lot of the times when we're doing a CE, you're in a room full of professionals, other real estate agents. People want to know what's going on in the industry. People want to see what's working, what's not working. So our goal is if we get them all there and they can network a little bit, maybe they're going to learn a little bit more than they normally would.
We're going to go to the next, I guess we'll call it the third level. So you have that person who becomes a real estate salesperson. They've gone through the 77-hour course. They've done their continuing education requirements on a biannual basis. Now they want to advance. They want to become a broker or an associate broker. What type of education courses do you offer them? So
right now, we are in the process of being approved to offer the broker class. The curriculum changed last year, and we needed to wait for the new books to come out since we weren't approved before that. So currently, we don't offer the broker classes, but we will in the next 3 months.
Okay. So anybody who's interested in becoming a broker should pay attention to your website, reach out to you, get put on a waiting list and so forth.
Exactly.
Okay. Knowing that you're not approved, what is your anticipation on how you're going to run those courses? Will it be similar to the new one? Will it be similar to the new salesperson course in terms of being like an ongoing?
We will probably run them quarterly. And it'll go off of, how many people we have pre-signed up. Again, everything's trial and error when you first start doing something. I know in the last 3 months, we've had about 10 people ask about it. So the first class will probably be pretty busy, and then we'll see, we'll gauge how they like it and how they prefer to do it. A lot of times people like doing night stuff. So we'll probably start with a night class so that it doesn't interrupt their regular day.
Stepping back before we leave, because there's more than Main Street Success does, and we're going to cover that as well. But before we leave the education side of it, specifically, what are some of the things that you would like to tell prospective students about? First off, let's start with just the career of sales.
So, real estate, like everything else, it's a business. It's not as easy as TV makes it look. There's a lot of continuing education. There's a lot of learning. I would say that if you want to get into this career or business, you're going to have a plan. You want to be surrounded by people that are doing it, that are successful at it, and have been in it a little while. The last 2-3 years, real estate wasn't what it was. It was a little bit easier per se. And now it's going into what it used to be. Like you used to have to sell a house, not just list it with your Facebook pictures and it was going 50 over asking. We're going to get back into that market again where the salesperson is actually going to be a salesperson.
Again, let's go back and let's look at that typical student looking to get licensed initially, and they're going to come to Main Street Success as a student. What should they expect from Main Street Success?
We're there to hold their hand. We try to bring the best in the industry. We try to show them more than one way to do something. We have coaches on staff. We also have, we bring in different agents, different brokers. There's not one shoe fits all. So when you become a real estate agent, you might work for this brokerage or you might work for that one. We want you to hear the difference in what they all offer.
Now, this is kind of a difficult question because when you factor in Zoom and in person, what would you say is the average class size for a new salesperson class?
Right now, factored in, it's between 10 and 15. The room we have fits about 20 people, and we're generally about 10 and 15. I would say there's usually about 8 or 9 in person on any given night.
Okay. So students are going to get a lot of personal contact with their instructor.
Correct.
Okay. They're not going to be lost in the conference room, or in an auditorium someplace.
Exactly. And we offer extra classes. We offer, test taking classes. Again, we try to offer whatever they want.
Once somebody's done with their education, they're in the profession now, whether they're inexperienced or whether it's their first day. They just got their license on a Monday. Now they're going to come to you on a Tuesday. Main Street Success offers coaching.
The coaching, again, it's still evolving. We have 2 or 3 different coaches we work with right now. 2 of them are in real estate and they're real estate specific. And the other one is more of a business coach. Again, the thing is, when you set your business plan, how do you get to that point? And we have different coaches that specialize in different things. So if somebody wants to grow their business faster and not make the mistakes that previous people made, we recommend getting a coach.
Now, I think that's a great point because, again, as I said earlier, I started out as a real estate salesperson before going to law school. My timing was great, of course, because I did it about 6 months before we went into a horrible recession. But I did know a few things that you alluded to. One was, and I've always had a huge respect for the real estate salespeople who are there good times and bad times. Everybody can sell, like you said, in a boom time. It's fairly easy. But when it's a recession, when interest rates are up and you've got to really work to market a house and find, proper buyers, I tip my hat to those people. And again, it is you hit on this. It's an independent business. When you work for a broker, you kind of sit on your together. You're going to get some help with marketing, but a lot of it's on your own. And for a lot of people entering it, they've never had a business. Everything from how you budget for your own personal marketing, and so forth. So again, your coaches seem to be well-rounded. They cover all the different areas. And how does that work in terms of hiring them? Is it on an hourly basis? Is it a course similar to what you do with the networking and the continuing ed?
So it's a little bit of both. We offer a package that comes with some coaching when they get their real estate license. So that's package number, that's our most expensive package. They get their license and they also get a coach for a couple hours a month. And then we offer individual coaching, and it's usually depending on the coach that they want. They could buy a package or they could do it hourly.
Which is great. So certainly for an experienced person who's trying to get their business to the next level, maybe a plateaued, or somebody who's fairly new and is following a program and is doing pretty well, but has a couple of questions, they can tweak it either on an hourly basis or buying a package.
Yeah. You don't know what you don't know. Yeah. So if you get a coach and, and you're caught or you're trying to get to that next level, they might be able to see something you don't see and make it easier.
If I'm hiring that coach, if I'm that real estate professional, what can I expect when I sit down with that coach?
So the biggest thing I would say a coach is going to do is they're going to hold you accountable. Most of the time, you already know what you want to do. The coach is going to sit there, have you write it down, have you make that plan, and they're going to hold you accountable to it. Because most people say, hey, I want to go out and knock on 50 doors and I want to do this. And then they get home, they sit on the couch and they forget about it. When you're paying a coach week after week or month after month, and he comes back and he goes, hey, did you knock on those 50 doors? And you're like, oh, well, he's going to be like, well, he's going to put that pressure on you. And it's just a mindset thing. People react differently when they're paying somebody and someone's asking, did they do it? You're not just fighting yourself.
There's an entire industry of personal trainers that are existing for the same thing. Why? You should be on the treadmill for a half hour, but when you pay someone to stand there and make sure you're on the treadmill for a half hour,
you get different results.
You hit on the networking events. And let's talk about a few of those, and again, like you said, you do them sometimes in combination with the continuing education. It's a way of bringing in professionals inside the real estate industry, title, attorneys, insurance, and so forth. But give us a little more meat on what these network events are like, what they include. So,
the whole industry strives off each other. Like you said, you have your title company that wants to meet lawyers. You have your agents that want to meet people. So our goal is our networking events. We try to get them all in the same place. So we'll try to have a couple different sponsors from different industries. We have nothing that's exclusive. So, we might run an event tomorrow with a mortgage company, a title company, a lawyer. And then next week we're running it with a whole different set of people because we want everybody to feed off each other. And we know that, you might not like this guy, but you might like that guy. So everybody, you get to pretty much promote yourself. So all of our events are different. We're always changing things up. Sometimes we bring a bar in. We bought a 360 camera that we're going to have for pictures and stuff. We always try to have a film crew there so you can film some content. So it really depends on the event. But again, we usually want to have an hour or two where people just get to talk.
Now, you hit on something. Now, I've actually visited your school in Smithtown, and it is right on Main Street.
It is.
Surprisingly. It's a gorgeous facility. I'm going to give you a few moments here to brag about it because it really is set up. The classrooms are set up for learning with the top-notch technology. So I'm going to give you a few moments to brag about, and rightfully so, to brag about your facility.
Yeah, so I mean, our facility is beautiful. Everybody that comes in is kind of impressed with what we did. It wasn't like that when we bought it. We built it basically from the ground up. All the rooms are interconnected. Again, you could run a class in the big room or the medium room or the small room. You could come in, use the conference room or use a little office. They're all connected to Zoom. Basically, we have everything set up for the way we want it.
In terms of the networking events, how should somebody sign up for those?
So everything we do post online. We do post it on Facebook. We post it on Google, and we post it on the website. They could also contact us, and we could put them on the email list. We generally send out an email once at the beginning of the month with all the events that we have going on.
For anybody who's looking to enter the profession and take the initial class, they contact your school, reach out.
Main Street Success. Look it up on Google. Look it up on Facebook. We'll pop right up.
Great. Matt, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. It was educational for me. You know, when I took my class, I don't think it was 77 hours. Everything was in person, and, you really didn't have as many choices. It was basically a Saturday and Sunday class, kind of a situation. It's nice to have the options. We didn't have continuing ed at the time.
Wow.
And the profession has dramatically changed. And this was very interesting for me to see. I know the quality of the professionals that I'm dealing with as an attorney has definitely increased over the years. And I want to thank you for being part of doing that for both the profession and for all of us as well. So Matt, again, thank you so much for being here. Matt Rivera from Main Street Success, a real estate school, among other things, in Smithtown. Matt's information will be at the end of this video, as always, so will mine. Again, my name is Joseph Beige. I'm a real estate attorney on Long Island. Thank you for watching.